Here we go. Good morning. We'll call the Highway and Building Committee meeting for Thursday, August 16th, 2018 to order. Need a roll call, please.
Mr. McConnell.
Present.
Mr. Tripp.
Present.
Mr. Legess. Mr. Vickery. Mr. Olchoff. Ms. Polk. Mr. Mulcahy. Mr. Hildebrand. Mr. Einfeld. Ms. Weber. Ms. Evans. Ms. Peters. Ms. Parker. Mr. Ritter. Mr. Kinzinger. Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Lear. We have a quorum.
Okay, I see no public comments. I have received none. You've been distributed the minutes of July 12th, 2018. Need a motion to accept? Anybody?
Nobody?
Nobody? Mr. Legess, second. Okay.
Who was second?
Oh, Ms. Weber. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Mark. Are you ready? Okay, we have bid letting and stuff, so we need a motion for Mr. Rogers to open the bids. Mr. Legess and Ms. Parker. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Okay. This is all for the surplus. This is all from the garage sale.
All right, good morning. This is for our public sale of our surplus equipment that was surplused here 2 months ago. So first bidder is St. Anne Township. And St. Anne Township is bidding on item number 5. And his bid is $1,500. Next is Rockville Township. Rockville is bidding on item number 1. And Rockville's bid is $22,900. $22,900. Next is Aaron Galloway. Mr. Galloway is bidding on item number 6, $218. He's bidding on item number 7, $139. And item number 8, $129. Next bidder is Ben Ruttin, Ruttin. He's bidding on item number 7, $60. Item number 8, $60. And item number 9, item number 9.
Two eights there.
Yeah, 2 8s there, yeah. Should be item number 9.
Correction there.
Correction. $10. Mountable light stand. Next bidder is Mike Karnes, Karnes. He's bidding on item number 6, $555. Next is Eric Glenn, Glenn. And he's bidding on item number 8, $125. $125. Next is looks like Jason Provost. Item number 1, bless you, $17,500. And last is Rob Wood, bidding on item number 7, $5. And item number 8, $5. All right. So low bidder looks like St. Anne Township got the item number, high bidder, I'm sorry. Habit. High bidder. St. Anne Township, item number 5. Rockville Township, item number 1. Let's see, item number 6, the paint striper, Mike Carnes. Both chainsaws went to Aaron Galloway. And the mountable light stand, Ben Ruttin.
Okay, you've got those. We need a motion to accept the highest bidder upon review. Mr. Tripp and Ms. Polk. All in favor say aye. Mrs. Polk. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Pay injury requests.
Okay, next business is pay estimates. We've got almost $600,000 in bills here to pay this month. First one is for our county 2018 general maintenance supplement 1. This is payable to Ennis Flint Incorporated. This is for the traffic paint that we needed to stripe our roads this summer, and that amount is $74,907.80. Next is for our county general maintenance payable to Gallagher Asphalt Corporation. This is for hot mix asphalt picked up at their plant. That amount is $3,028.28. Next is our county general maintenance supplement 2 payable to Grosso Construction Company. This is for oil and chip work that's continuing in the county, and that amount is $62,018.33. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2018 payable to Kankakee Valley Construction Company. This is for hot mix picked up at their plant. That amount is $585. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2018 payable to Prairie Material Sales. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry with our trucks. That amount is $467.24. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2018, payable to Vulcan Materials. This is for chips and road mix picked up at the quarry with our trucks. That amount is $4,721.11. Next is for Kankakee Road District, section 17-05122-00-SS. This is payable to Groff Testing Corporation. This is for soil borings in anticipation for a storm sewer design for the road district, and that amount is $2,400. Next is Essex Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $86,671.82. Next is for Auto Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, supplement 1, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work in the township. That amount is $69,407.30. Next is Pilot Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $97,220.81. Next is Salina Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $58,893.49. Next is Sumner Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $31,945.59. Next is a final pay estimate for Aroma Township for their 2018 general maintenance, supplement 1, payable to Kankakee Valley Construction Company. This is for overlay in the township, and that amount is $26,780.60. Next is a final pay estimate for Auto Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Hammond Wagner Excavating. This is for aggregate repair and pulverization, and that amount is $2,631.73. Next is a final pay estimate for Pilot Road District, section 18-12108-01-AS. This is payable to Hammond Wagner for pulverization and aggregate base repair, and that amount is $3,672.53. Next is for Yellowhead Road District for their 2018 general maintenance. This is a final payment to Hammond Wagner Excavating for pulverization and aggregate base repair, and that amount is $8,889.75. Next is Kankakee Road District for section 17-05122-00-SS. This is the same section as was for the borings that Groff were paid for. This is payable to MG2A for preliminary engineering for that project, and that amount is $1,335.00. Next is Pembroke Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Vulcan Materials. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry with their trucks, and that amount is $13,273.95. Next is our county general maintenance non-MFT for 2018, and that contractor is Grasso Construction Company. This is for the oil and chip work that was done on County Highway 30, and that amount is $142,360.11. Next is a final payment to Hammond Wagner for our 2018 general maintenance non-MFT. This is was for the ag base repair and pulverization on County Highway 30, and that amount is $108,043.84. Next is section 13-00115-05-RS. This is payable to the treasurer of the state of Illinois. I know it says Kankakee Valley there, but Kankakee Valley was paid by the state. We have to pay the state back, but this is for our federal overlay on County Highway 37, and that amount is $44,937.58. Next is our county general maintenance payable to Engineering Resource Associates. This is for our National Bridge Inspection, for the bridge inspections on the county structures. That amount is $3,500. And last is section 17-00175-02-BR non-MFT. This payable to Toby's Construction and Cartage. This is for some bridge deck patching, and that amount was $10,569.55.
Okay, we're gonna need a motion to accept, then we'll have a roll call. Mr. Olthoff, in second. Mr. Vickery. Need a roll call, please.
Mr. McConnell.
Aye.
Mr. Tripp.
Aye.
Mr. Lejes.
Aye.
Mr. Vickery.
Aye.
Mr. Olthoff. Ms. Polk. Mr. Mulcahy. Ms. Weber. Ms. Peters. Ms. Parker. Mr. Kinzinger. Mr. Wheeler. Motion carries.
Okay, resolutions.
Okay. I have 4 resolutions this morning. They're all for the same project. The state of Illinois is going to replace the bridge over I-57 on St. George Road. The state pays 100% for the bridge structure itself, and then the locals have to pay for the approaches. So there's this, the first resolution is authorizing the county board chairman to sign the agreement, the joint agreement between the state and the county, and basically it goes through how the funds are split. If you go to page page 4 of the agreement, you can see how the funds are being split. Basically, our portion, they say, is going to be around $87,000, and I think the total cost for the bridge is $6.3 million. So we are going to use our federal funds to pay 80% of our share. So locally, it's only going to cost us around $87,000. I want to appropriate around $100,000 just in case there's any overages or anything like that.
Mr. Olthoff.
Are they widening that?
Yes, it's going to be 4 lanes with a 4-foot median and a multi-use path on the south side.
Good.
Mr. Lejes.
The bridge is being widened to 4 lane, but the road is only 2, isn't it?
Yes.
Is there plans later on to make it 4?
That we're planning for the future there. West of the bridge by Cigna, we've already widened that area to 4 lane, and then it goes to 2 as it goes over the bridge. But yes, in the future, we'll probably be widening that to 4 lanes.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Lear.
We need to do that to Armour Road, or Larry Fowler Road.
Mr. Lear.
When does construction start?
It's not going to be let until November. This is all, we have to have all this in order so they can get the final approval from the state.
Mr. Vickery.
Motion to approve.
Okay, second. Okay, we're gonna need a roll call because we're spending money. Okay, one of those people back there. They all raised their hand at the same time. Pick one, yeah. Hey, roll call, please.
Mr. McConnell.
Aye.
Mr. Tripp.
Aye.
Mr. Lejes. Mr. Vickery. Mr. Olthoff. Ms. Polk. Mr. Mulcahy. Ms. Weber. Ms. Peters. Ms. Parker. Mr. Kinzinger. Mr. Wheeler. Motion carries.
The next resolution in front of you is an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Bourbonnais. The Village of Bourbonnais and the County of Kankakee are going to split the $100,000. So we will be paying the state, and the Village of Bourbonnais will be reimbursing us. Also in the agreement, it spells out who is responsible for maintaining the lighting, which the Village of Bourbonnais will be maintaining the lighting. We will be maintaining the hot mix asphalt pavement, and the village will be maintaining the curb, gutter, storm sewer, sidewalks, anything outside of the traveled roadway. This is how the agreement was set up when we did the joint agreement with Cigna. When we did St. George Road from Route 45 to the end of the Cigna improvement, it mirrors all that. The village is in agreement. We'll get our agreement executed, and they will execute the agreement also.
Mr. Kinzinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A quick question. You said this mirrors a previous agreement. I assume that the previous agreement worked very well and there were no modifications necessary.
That's correct.
Mr. Olthoff.
Are there any projections of widening 9,000 over to 57?
I've not seen that bridge on the program yet. That would be we'd have to contact the state. Did you want me to inquire with the state?
I would almost think that it's more desirable than St. George Road.
We can do that.
Okay.
Flair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Going back to what Mr. Just raised, 4-lane there's some construction work being going right now. I don't know whether are you familiar with that?
The work that you see going on now is the utilities are moving their utilities out of the way for construction.
Okay.
Anything else? Need a motion to accept? Mr. Lear, second. Mrs. Polk, roll call, please.
There's money mentioned in the resolution, in the agreement.
Mr. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Tripp?
Aye.
Mr. Lejes? Mr. Vickery?
Aye.
Mr. Olchoff? Ms. Polk? Mr. Mulcahy? Ms. Weber? Ms. Peters? Ms. Parker? Mr. Kinzinger? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carried.
Last one.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark, when I use that intersection, the eastbound at the light on 45,
Okay.
they need a turn lane there.
Okay.
I mean, can you mention it to Bourbonnais?
That's the state's intersection, so I'll have to contact the state
Okay.
on that one too.
I know it's gonna require property and all that, but
Yeah.
off in the future sometime, they gotta make that wider.
Okay.
Okay, last one.
The next resolution is part of the agreement that the state is requiring that we restrict parking in the curb sections on St. George Road. We already have this parking restriction on St. George Road from Route 45 to 1,300 feet east, which was a Cigna improvement. We're just extending that to the other side of the touchdown point on the east side of the bridge on St. George Road. So it will be enforced by the Village of Bourbonnais. That's in the agreement, and the Village of Bourbonnais will collect the fines.
Okay, we need a motion to accept. Mr. McKay, Mr. Tripp, second. Just need a voice vote on this one. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And the last resolution I have is a resolution and ordinance for the extension of an altered speed zone on County Highway 8 east of US routes 45, 52 in Bourbonnais Township. We went out at the request of the state and did a study on reducing the speed. Currently, it's 45 miles an hour up to probably just west of the bridge, and then it's 55 miles an hour down to just west of Belson Road. And we're going to make all the way from Route 50 to Route 45, 45 miles an hour. The state requested that we do that with the barrier curb that's going to be constructed on the bridge, and our study concluded that it needed to be 45 miles an hour.
Any comments?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, second. Mrs. Polk. Just need a voice vote on this one. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Next, I just wanted to give a State Line Bridge update. Chairman Wheeler and I were attended a meeting via conference call to Lake County. Lake County had their officials there. The Federal Highway Administration was there. Fish and Wildlife, Indiana Historical Landmarks. It was all the players from the memorandum of agreement for the replacement of the bridge. Indiana, the commissioners and the county engineer there gave the case that they had estimated this bridge repair or enhancement to cost around 1.8 million. It came in at about 7.5 million. And of course, the bids were rejected. So letters were written back and forth trying to determine what to do with this. There were three options. One was to, they were going to relet, but they decided they didn't have the funds to do that. They might relet, or it was to disassemble the bridge, inventory it, and save it to go someplace else, or scrap it, just tear it down, just scrap the bridge. That wasn't met favorably by a few people at the meeting. In fact, I don't know that they really were concerned about the cost to rehab it. They just said, you signed the agreement, you have to do it. So I asked, well, who makes the final decision? And it is the feds. And so no decision was made at that meeting. They want everyone to look at the specs, look at the bridge plans to see if there's any costs that can be cut. And we're to make comments by the end of business on August 20th, I believe. I think, did I miss anything?
No, I think, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, there was representation from the county from the conservation district there, the group that's a taxing district out of Momence that clears logs out of the river and things like that. Their concern is that now if there is no bridge there, there's nothing to basically act as a cow catcher for all the logs coming down from Indiana. So a bridge is acting as a dam, if you will, and there's sand building up around the dam, and the bridge is the water level is to the point where it's just below that bridge on a good day. So when it floods the whole area. So as far as this committee goes, you know, there's a lot of people who, they should know that there's a lot of folks that want to see a historic bridge preserved. And you know, we talked about that there is a historical nature to that, but the cost that has been bid, getting cranes in there, it's almost like people are bidding, or the one bidder did not want the job. You can't, you know, we don't have a mind reading device, but to bid that much means you don't know if you can actually get in there and what's going to happen, how you're going to float something in there and to get it out. So there was talk from other people to say, can they make it a pedestrian bridge? And, you know, people to go out there and ride four-wheelers and motorcycles and everything down it or whatever. And, you know, hey, there's a value to that. You know, if people want to turn it into a recreation area. I think it's LaSalle, is that what it's called? Yep. Right across, it's right on the Illinois state line. It's actually only 10% in Illinois and 90% in Indiana. I believe we figured that out. Just basically the railing on the west side is in Illinois. But to let it back out, even if this bridge was rehabbed, it wouldn't be able to support anything of substance. I don't think you can even get an emergency vehicle down it.
I reviewed the plans. It looks like it was going to be 12 ton.
Okay.
It'd have to be posted at 12 ton.
It'd have to be at 12. So it's very restrictive on what you can get down that road anyway, even if it was rehabbed, brought back. So, yeah. So we have to basically, we had to make a decision, you know, at the time you know, do we scrap it? And then the historical people came back and said it's not a historical designation, but the fact that it's eligible means that it's historical. So we're in this situation of, okay, well, I guess you can't scrap it. Some historical people said, well, we'll take the bridge, which means they hadn't really thought about where they're going to put it. So who's going to pay to disassemble it? Are we eligible for federal highway money to have it disassembled for preservation? You know, there's all these questions out there because there is 3 counties that are involved, but then Lake County paid for the initial engineering on this. They objected. Who's going to pay for the engineering for the next phase if it's not to be used as a bridge and just a walking pedestrian thing? You know, it's legitimate. Then
the question comes, can you use federal highway funds for a pedestrian bridge?
Yeah.
And no one answered that question.
No, not sufficiently.
Any other questions for Mr. Rogers? Mr. Weir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last time I was down there, the road to the bridge is a problem.
Yes.
especially when the water's high. It
Yes.
isn't right now, but
You can't get to the bridge from either side if the
Yeah.
water's up.
yeah. So I don't, I mean, it'd
Bridge to
take a
nowhere,
lot of fill to get that to the approach, or to the bridge, so.
There,
I just wanted to add one thing. It did come out in the meeting from people that had history. The bridge was deemed structurally unsound, not because of the load down on the bridge. It was because of the lateral load, because of everything pushing up against it. And that came from the meeting that was mentioned. I can't remember who said it. That's my concern, and that's Lake County's concern. If it does go in, if we do have log jams and more sand and everything, and it pushes it over into the river, that's all in Illinois at that point. How do we get that out of there, and how much does that cost? So there's not just me saying scrap it, it's thinking a little bit ahead.
Mr. Oldham.
Thank you, Chairman. What is the historical significance of that?
it's eligible for historical significance because of its engineering significance. It's not its location, because it was the bridge came from I think it crossed the Kankakee River there by Moments. Yes, that's it. So it's not its location because it came from another location. It's because of its engineering significance.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Andrews, there he is. Cut that off quick.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Morning, Wes. Okay. Okay, here we go.
All right, morning everyone. Start with a facility dude report for the month of July. We had 176 work orders, which is quite a bit. July was very busy, both on the work order side and the expense side, which we'll jump to now. The expenses I called out, went through a little bit of effort here to simplify this so you could follow along. The maintenance expenses that I want to call your attention to, you can see for the month of July we were at $43,260.40, which is a pretty big number. So I went through the financial reports here, and I called your attention to 7, I guess, expenses. And number 1 you'll see for Kone Elevator. That is $5,562, and what that is that's our quarterly maintenance agreement with Kone, where they go to the admin building, the annex, courthouse, public safety, and the old jail, and they perform maintenance on the elevators. So that's that expense. Then the second expense you'll see, I called out as number 2 and highlighted there for you, is $12,450. That's for precision piping, and that was for a compressor that was down for the chiller unit at the old jail. And we discussed all this previously, but they all, many of these came through in the month of July. Number 3 is for commercial glazing, $2,560. And what that's for is, that's for the glass for the inmate cells out at Jerome Combs. It's bulletproof glass, and somehow the inmates find a way to break them. Yeah.
Amazing.
So those run, we ordered, I believe we ordered 4 of those, 4 or 5, I don't remember exactly, but they run about $500 to $600 a piece. So anytime, anything, yes, sir.
Thank you. Who is the bulletproof protecting?
It's just the manner of the glass. It's for detention purposes. That's the grade of glass that we have to put on those
It's protecting
cells.
the inmates?
Well, no, they just don't want them breaking them to get out.
Oh.
You know, to
All
be
right.
as crazy as it sounds, they manage a way to break them. Counterfeiters number 4, that is for a new workstation in the nurse's office out at Jerome Combs. That department continues to grow, and they needed more room for additional workstations. They had 2 and they wanted 3 to streamline things a little bit out there at in the nurses station there. So that's what number 4 is for. Then you'll see 5 and 6, we discussed both of these at last month's meeting. Those are expenses for Western Detention related to locks, lock cylinders, and cell motors for the jails there at, or the old jail. And then Rogers Supply number 7, $1,289. That is for Freon that we use mainly here at this facility.
22.
Freon, yep.
Mr. Tripp?
Back to Kone.
Yes, sir.
What's involved in the $5,562 maintenance agreement? What do they do on the maintenance agreement?
They go through the elevators in detail. They oil them, they grease them,
Okay.
they, you know.
They do some, yeah, okay. Just want if it's operating or not. We
No,
can do that.
I don't know that it's necessarily a requirement. I guess I would say that it's probably just good practice to be sure that the,
I just want to know what they did for the money.
well, we gotta do the state licensing,
Yeah.
sure,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Mr. Case?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On that Kone, I understand that they're doing preventive maintenance for that $5,000, but does that also cover parts and labor beyond, say, a main component goes out? Is that covered as well?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The countertop work at JCDC, was that on the maintenance budget?
Was it included in the
Yeah,
maintenance budget?
Or is that expense charged to corrections?
I
just can't remember.
I was going to keep it in the maintenance budget.
Okay. All right, we'll talk. I'll talk to the sheriff about
Okay.
that too. Thank you.
Any other questions on the financial side of things?
Mr. Vickery?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Wes, you mentioned that the countertop work was due to expansion.
Mm-hmm.
That department is expanding there, the medical department. Is that due to ICE?
I don't know that it's they just needed more. They needed to expand their work area, I guess. You know, they've got, the way it's set up right now, they had only 2 workstations at the desk where they worked, and they had a third nurse that they wanted to be able to put in the middle of these 2. So they wanted to expand the workstation that they had there. So that was the thought process behind
Thank you.
I don't know if they've technically expanded, so maybe I misspoke.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Thank you. I'm looking at elevator again quarterly and would like to know if that's a government requirement, if that quarterly inspection is due to best practices, or if that is something that we're doing and nobody's ever reviewed. Maybe a 6-month inspection is adequate and we don't have to do all 5 of them, but those that have continual use. Has that been reviewed, how we're doing those quarterly inspections?
No, that was something that Brian had gone over with me before he'd left. I mean, I'm happy to review it and see if we can switch to semi-annual
Or based on usage and see if we can't pick up a few bucks there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? We good? All right, building report. We'll start here at the admin building. Obviously, everybody can see the roof work that's going on right now. The contractor estimated 10 working days. I would say we're about halfway through it. We've lost a couple days due to rain, or I should say the threat of rain, because there hasn't there hasn't been much in the way of rain, but they did lose a few days. That's going to be terrific when we get done with that. I mean, they're gone through. I wasn't involved in securing that proposal, but the work they're doing out there, they're adding some knee walls. They're really pushing water to drains. It's going to be a lot better. A lot of water sat on that roof when it would rain, so it's really going to be nice, and it's going to be a lot safer. For my staff that have to go out there, in the wintertime to address issues or frost in the morning. So that's going to be nice. They did.
A couple years ago, a couple years ago, I was on this committee too, and we talked about the gutters, and they went down into the drain, and it was supposed to go into a storm sewer, but apparently because of work that had been done in Kankakee, like it kind of got chopped off, so the water didn't have anywhere to go, and that was part of our water problem. Did anybody check that out? Make sure that all this nice water drainage we have isn't gonna like just bubble back up.
Are you talking
because
about exterior drains?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't
like
know
where the
anything
water
about
is
that.
actually
We had
gonna go.
interior drain issues that have all been addressed,
Okay.
but no, I don't know anything
All right,
about
you might want to
exterior.
check that. Does anybody else remember that conversation? I remember it because I never heard that it got resolved.
Yeah, that would be
So-
bad if we were going through all this work and that's an issue. All right, I will look into that. Got a pen? I thought I had one. All right, let's see. Oh, they did come across, the contractor did a drain issue that was not included in the original estimate. However, we did have, if you recall, $5,000 worth of contingency in the proposal. So I talked to Doug Bright. He recommended that the work get done. He said it's really in bad shape, one of the drains that were up there right now. So Langlois is going to go ahead and handle that, and that'll be handled through contingency in the proposal. Maintenance, then auditor move. I know we've been hearing a little bit about that. We're looking at that to finalize that on August 29th. So that'll be done and behind us here by the end of the month. We've got some heat piping on floor number 2 that I've called out to get some bids on. It's badly corroded, and before we fire up the boiler system for, you know, as sad as it is to say, cold weather is going to be upon us here soon, and we're preparing for it. So we're looking at getting some of the heat piping or boiler piping replaced on floor number 2 by the recorder's office. WeatherBug camera agreements finalized. We'll be moving forward on that. And then one thing that, you know, kind of fell to the back of my desk as I've, you know, been trying to acclimate myself is we had a car versus building here, I guess, in February. Does anybody remember that? Is that right?
Yep.
Roughly February. Allstate, I've been working on that. Allstate still cannot settle on that. There may be a limit issue with the person that hit the building. So I'm working with George Ryan Insurance and Allstate and IPMG, who is our carrier, to try to get everything sorted out. But to update you on that, that's still ongoing from February. Courthouse, we'll jump to the courthouse. The roof is obviously done. I think we touched on that last time. I did walk it the other day with Doug Bright. We had a couple issues that we want the contractor to look at and possibly address and button up. But really looks good. Met with Judge Kramer and Doug Bright on some ADA issues that we are working through at the courthouse. Andy, do you want me to give an update on that?
I probably should.
When we met with Judge Kramer, we've been working on a couple of ideas with regards to accessibility at the courthouse. You know, Brian had gone through some considerable effort to have a ramp designed on the front of the courthouse. Through some conversations with Doug Bright, we believe, and I think Andy's on the same page as we just met on this the other day, that the best course of action might be to modify the existing ramp that's in the back. You know, it's going to be, you know, significantly less in the way of expense. There's sensors already there for the door. When you go down there, the door opens. You know, the grade is actually good. The issue there is the landing. When you come up and you make a change of direction, you've got to have a 5-foot landing. We don't have that. I think we're off by 4 inches in one direction and an inch in another direction. Yeah. But when you start looking at expenses, though, versus redoing that versus the ramp on the front or possibly cutting into the courthouse, you know, those are major issues. And I think if we can get this done, I believe it's going to be the way to go. So, and then, go ahead.
This committee, next month, will see the drawings, and we're going to submit those to the AG's office. That's our goal. We're pushing to get something drawn up and sent off to the AG. Then we'll also bring those here at the same time so people can see what the drawings are for that, and then he's going to get into the courtroom probably as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the courtroom we're looking at is 204, and we met with Doug Bright on it, and it looks like that we need to provide accessibility to the jury box, the witness stand, and then the jury deliberation area. We were concerned about having to provide accessibility to, the area where the judge sits and possibly the court reporter, and that would have been a major undertaking to try to make the entire courtroom accessible for everyone, including staff. So that was good news on that. Doug Bright is working through that. He's going to, I think, get us a final recommendation after he, speaks to some people. And I think Andy was going to work on that as well, including myself. So let's see. Reuter is going. I've asked Reuter to install a remote door lock at the front door of the jail, or not the jail, the courthouse. This comes from the staff there. The sheriff's department has requested it. If for any reason they had an issue in the jail that they needed to tend to quickly, they would like the ability to go ahead and lock the front door. And they'd like to be able to lock it from the station where they work. Instead of having to meander through and get over to the front door and lock it, that takes time. So I got, it's going to be around, I think it was about $1,000 to put that in. I think it's a good idea, and I've given the go ahead on that as well. The curbs at the courthouse, I know we talked about that a little bit. I've got some photos here that I forgot to pass out. Andy, would you be able to help me with this? I got a couple different ones, so you can just pass those around. Yeah, they're all the same. Just pass them around. They can take a look. Ron's already seen them. So what you'll see there when the photos get to you is, we talked about it briefly last time, and instead of having you actually go over there and look at it, I thought it'd be easier if I could just print up some photos and you can take a look. The concrete is settled, it's pretty bad. I mean, the curbs are shot, they're crumbling, we got gravel all over the place. In some instances, it's 3 to 4 inches worth of settling that has occurred. It's quite easy. I mean, if you're walking down the sidewalk and you're going to another sidewalk, you got to step up probably 3 or 4 inches to get up there. So, I mean, obviously I know I don't have a blank check here to do whatever I want, but it's something that I think, we at least need to get on our radar. And I think it's something that should get addressed, when the time's right and we have funds available. So, any questions on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was one of those things, and I had mentioned it to Wes, that between that and the settling of the pad of the steps coming into the courthouse, we've all been talking about how they've dipped. And I don't know if you were going to address that at the same time, but once we get through the courthouse, the ADA construction issues, we can look and see where we're at financially, and it looks like maybe mid-year next year we might be able to come back with another proposal for this committee to say this is what it'll take, because obviously you can't do this work in the winter, so we're probably looking at next budget year anyway to do this. Yeah. So it was just a thought, and if the committee agrees, we could fast track it, but we just definitely don't have the money right now. We're still in the hole. So,
well, I mean, I view it as my job to bring it to your attention. I mean, I'm happy to acquire bids and look into doing it. I guess it's whatever's the pleasure of committee.
Tinker. Excuse me. Tinker?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wes, I did go over there 2 weeks ago and walk around the building, and because we had discussed this at the last meeting, and it is an issue over there just to walk.
Right.
It's difficult, especially with the gravel and people fearing of falling.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Pickering? Mr. Kripp?
Just a comment. Back a few months ago, the area, the parking lot by Jewel, McDonald's, and Bourbonnais, I've never seen a more efficient installation of paving than that. I drove up there in the morning, and they were grinding it out. And it's a pretty big area. The next morning I came in, it was paved, it was marked, everything. I mean, some of these roads we have around here, they're getting ready to pave them. They're ground out 2 weeks ahead of time, and then it takes forever to do it. I was really impressed, not only by how quick they got it done, but the quality of it. And I don't know who it is, but I'd like to have you check that out.
Right.
put them on a bidding list. That's the most efficient, parking lot redone that I've ever seen. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Yeah. I think maybe Jeff Bennett may be the one to call on that.
Okay.
Thank you. To Mr. Vickery's point, I don't see any harm in at least knowing what we're talking about and looking at the, you know, I've heard $40 a foot on the run for the curbing and all of that, but maybe we get some numbers, and if it's back in time, we can put it in next year's budget for when we do have money. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yep, fair enough. Thank you. Old jail and annex, the elevator there, the drilling is done. I don't remember if I had this information for last month's meeting or not. I don't think I did. The drilling company went over on their timeline. They, I think it was about, well, it was 44 hours of additional work, but I mean, I was there every day. My staff was there every day. There were days that they went 17 inches. They hit bedrock and they're breaking bits, and I mean, it was tough work. So they went over. Their initial bid was $39,390. Additional work amounted to $15,400 for a total drilling of $54,790. When you add the Kone markup in labor to that, the total drilling cost comes to $98,667, and that's, you know, that's 25. That's about $25,000 more than what was initially bid by the drilling company and Kone. So,
Mr. Kenrick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That extra was consistent with the contract the county signed?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just the, you know, the unknown. I mean, I suppose when you're putting something in the ground, you don't know what you're going to hit, and of course the contract addressed that. The contract also addressed the fact that we had to have a member of Kone's staff on site while they were drilling, and I went round and round with Kone. I told them how I felt about it, and at the end of the day, it was consistent with industry standards, and they disagreed with my position, and I even discussed it with Andy at the time, and you know, it's going to be a lot of money to get that elevator back in and working. So we estimated about 150. It's going to be, from what I can tell, about 178 to get that thing going. But the good news is it'll be done next week, or so they say. So hopefully by the end of the week next week we'll have a functioning elevator, which is going to be nice. Also at the old jail, we've got a roof, our skylight on the roof that is broken. An inmate took some time ago. I mean, this has been going on since Brian was here. An inmate took I believe a mop handle of some sort and was jabbing up at the ceiling and actually broke it. So that's something that I met with corrections staff on about a month ago. We've got an estimate to fix that. I didn't make a note of it here, but I want to say for the security type skylight that would need to go in there, it'd be about $5,000 to fix that. I'm full of a lot of good news. Let's see. It's just the old jail. I mean, the old jail. I mean, there's an air handler that's out in master control. It services the nurses station as well. There's gate valves that continue to get stuck. You know, so every time we have a toilet issue, we go to the gate valve. We try to shut the toilet off. Well, surprise, the gate valve don't close. So then we got to call out a plumber. We got to shut the water off to the building. They put in a ball valve. So it just it's always something with regards to that facility. And then clogged drains. You know, that seems to be, whether it's sporks or, you know, juice boxes or whatever they can put down the drain, they seem to put down the drain. So security station work, we've talked about that a little bit at the annex. I've given the go-ahead on that to start that process of locating the security station down below, and I think we talked about that at last month's meeting as well. JCDC, Public Safety Building, we've had Protection Associates out multiple times this week. We've had sprinkler issues, we've had alarm issues, and it all stemmed from a strobe that was in, a fire strobe that was in the one of the gymnasiums, the small gyms that are there. Ball must have hit it, broke the device. You couldn't really tell it till you took it off, and it was sending false alarms up to the control panel. We had alarms going off. It was a big deal these last few days. Radiator replacement is there for the generator on the east side. That is done. They completed that the other day. And that's about it. We got some cabinets in booking that are falling apart that they've asked me to take a look at and try to replace. But business as usual, I suppose. So.
Any other questions for Mr. Andrews? Any other questions? Mr. Rickery?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This maintenance in the old jail is due primarily so that we can keep our ICE program going, so that we get that income. So when we go to looking at cost, we need to build that in. I mean, that $178,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
Plumbing
so that
work.
eats into our income.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Will.
Great.
Okay. My pen. Thank you. Okay. Any old business? Any old business? New business? Mr. Wheeler.
Couple of items.
Items?
Thank you. The first thing is, the committee may remember we had gave the nod to proceed on a memorial on the courthouse lawn. The Women's Club had wanted to locate a historical marker about the fact there was 3 Illinois governors from Kankakee County. This is a crude sketch, if you will, of what they have come up with. We don't have an architectural drawing. It's here on the wall here. This is going to be presented to executive committee. Okay, I wanted this committee to know that we've kind of given the nod as far as you agree that that would be where it goes and all of that. Executive will finally approve this. I can tell you that I've looked back and I can find no memorial that's ever been approved by the county board. I don't know if anybody's been here when something has happened. The bench for Governor Ryan, that bench, I couldn't see where there was a ordinance or a motion made to approve that, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to. So I'll ask the executive if this is the way they want to go. The Women's Club, they had the what you're going to see here already made, so they purchased them already. So that is really should not influence whether they approve it or not. But I can tell you that that this is moving forward with the blessing of the executive on county property. So there's also no money being spent by us. That's one of the reasons that it's not going to be in any place where we require excavating to make it flat and level, because the county's not investing in this. It's all the Women's Club that's doing this. So, yes.
Mr. Oldham.
Thank you, Chairman. There will be a foundation, I assume.
Underneath that, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the construction is they're paying for all of the construction as well. Okay. The only thing I think they're going to do is they were going to tap in, because there's 3 lights over those pillars. They were going to tap into the electricity just to have that lit at night over the tops of the things, but it's minimal. I suggested, why don't they get a solar panel, because I'm Mr. Solar apparently. So
This might be a
yeah, solar panels on the whole lawn. There you go.
might be a crazy question, but is it something they can add to? You never know when
Yeah.
you have another one.
Yep, you do. You're correct. And all that space in the middle is not open. It's actually, they're selling bricks with names on them. So people can buy a brick and it can expand towards Court Street. And remember, it's over here in I guess it'd be the northwest corner of the building. You see where the bench is. It doesn't have the kids sitting on it. But.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My concern is aesthetics and architectural and historical preservation, all those things rolled together. This needs to be reviewed by at least Doug Bright and look at the whole facility and make certain that we're not, when we get done a quilt work or a patchwork of items on the court, and somebody more qualified than myself needs to be involved. And I think, I'm not certain who's on the executive committee, but I'd rather have some aesthetic people involved rather than who I think's on the executive committee make that decision.
This has been through, the design work has gone, it is a professional, it's not them doing it, the women's group that's doing this. So I can, Doug was involved with Wes as far as the placement of it. This is the extent of the design work right here, and there's more, there will be official, like, you know, elevations and all of that stuff done. The materials have been chosen, the block, everything like that. So, as far as and I actually understand what you're saying, there's no way we're not purchasing this. So if we didn't, I don't think the flag or any of the other monuments, the police memorial, those don't necessarily jive with the architecture of the courthouse. So it is somewhat of a patchwork already. But I would like to see what the brick is gonna look like as well.
But it's still our approval to do it or don't do it, right?
Well, that, it's questionable, but I think you should have the approval to do it or don't do it.
think so.
Yeah.
Should.
It never has been before, but I don't think that's the correct way to do it.
Is the location about where that ugly bench is now?
That's the bench.
That is the bench that's there now?
Yes, and it would be in front of that. Yes.
Can't they move that somewhere? Like Governor Small or someplace? I mean, how many monuments we need out there, for Christ's sake? Yeah.
Though the committee already agreed to let it be there. And I don't know this committee. And so I moved forward based on the approval of this committee to get this going. And I said I was gonna bring back the language to executive, it doesn't have to happen tomorrow. This could keep going. I mean, that's fine. I mean.
Mr. Kinzinger.
I just want, as a matter of record, this is the first time this committee has seen the monument that they're trying to build, that we approved a concept, not a plan.
That was my.
They did have a picture to the committee.
But we didn't have architectural drawings or anything like that on the final, what Mr. Kinzinger is saying, and then that we need to see.
I'm kind of in Mr. Legess. I have no problems with this. But there needs to be, and our architect is Doug Bright, there needs to be consideration given to, okay, this one, what's next, and what's next, and all of a sudden we have a busy courthouse that should represent law and order, not various individual things that we're all trying to highlight. I just want that to be considered.
I think that executive committee should be thinking about that.
Yeah, I thought the location, construction,
and the future
design would be here, and then executive would say, do we do it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and agree. So we should.
I just want the thought out there.
Sure. So is this committee? We'll go run through everything else, but is it this committee's? In the form, I guess it can't be in the form of a motion. You can just tell me, and I'll ask the women's group to, because it's not on the agenda. I can actually ask them to send it to Doug Bright.
Would you please?
And get some type of or whoever they choose, because it's their money, so they can send it to somebody else.
I would, Mr. Chairman, we when it comes to stuff like this, everybody has an opinion. We have chosen Doug Bright as an architect responsible for things that we're doing within the jail. Somebody has to be appointed to look at the overall concept, including maybe the judge himself. I mean, we have to have a qualified group that we say, okay, they know what they're doing, and this is the way we're going to move forward with these types of things.
Would be the committee's response then to send it to have Mr. Wheeler contact the women's group, to have them contact Mr. Bright to put his stamp of approval or thoughts on it, and then bring it back to the executive committee? Okay, Mr. Wheeler, would you do that, please?
Yeah, that's to Mr. Oltoff's point. If they so choose to use another architect to put that together, we can still have Mr. Bright look at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because we pay him, you know, but we're not going to pay for a rendering to be done. That's not our area, because this was brought to us and say, can we use the courthouse lawn for this? And that's what this group agreed to, and so now we're into that next step. Right. So if that's acceptable, I'll make that phone call today.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, now if you would, Diane, could you flip that back around counterclockwise? You go up to the top and hit view. Yeah. Because I'll show you what they look like. But we have to adjust. There we go. Bottom right corner. The arrow down there? No, the arrow. There's an arrow. No, arrow, bottom right corner. There you go. Yeah, just use your clicker onto. If you hold it down, it will scroll. So there's the first one. So if you keep going, please, you'll see that there's just elected dates, what they were elected to, state's attorney, all of that kind of stuff. It's very similar, yeah. They're all very similar. And then the next one is very similar. So that's I just wanted to show you what they look like as far as, you know, what the women's group had put together. So they're rather large, if you will. So they told me they cost $15,000 for all three of them. So anyway, that's it. So I'll talk to them and then talk to Doug Bright afterwards.
Okay.
So.
Thank you, Chair. Is there a height on the pillars?
Yeah, I think they were only about like 6 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Yeah. They were made so people could sit on those spaces between.
Okay.
You know.
It just looked like a wall with huge pillars that maybe.
It's only like 6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, not about that.
Okay. Other business. Mr.
I
Wheeler.
today I received a resignation effective at the end of the month for a board member, and so I'm announcing the opening in Mr. McConnell's board district. He is regrettably resigned from the county board effective at the end of the month. So I want to say thank you for your service and your guidance on this committee. Your knowledge on your personal vocations that you are able to contribute has been invaluable. You've saved the county a lot of money.
Thank you.
By being able to steer us in some good directions, and you'll be missed.
Thank you.
So, and if anybody can stop him, it's not too late. So.
Okay. Adjournment. Mr. Odess. No, you didn't. You didn't see him back there, did you? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you for your time.